a few nights ago, I went out to dinner with a group of friends, and one of the dudes who always shows up to these group events, he always asks me like, "Yo, where your girlfriend at, bro? Where your girlfriend?" And it's like, "Yo, why are you always asking about like my relationship life or the status of it?" He knows, and I've known this guy for maybe 2 or 3 years now. He knows about the whole Samantha situation. Now, if you remember, there were several videos I uploaded. They're gone now about someone named Samantha. I made a whole project about this individual though. I had twisted the details about this person that in older videos. I said that they were transgender. I said that they lived in California. Both of that wasn't true. I just did that to protect their identity because there have been times where people have been really nosy about my personal life on the internet. Like they'll add people on my Discord server or they'll talk to someone close to me to get information about me. And if you've been on my Discord server like years upon years ago, there was some drama with that too. People just, it's just weird. I don't like that at all. It happened to me several times in the past. The truth was though, Samantha was my girlfriend for the longest time. And I was really going through it, dealing with her mental health at the end of 2023, towards right when summer ended of 2023. That's where I started to really deal with it. And we clicked so well. There has not been a single person in my near 30 years of living who I found myself so compatible with as a lover and as a friend. We planned to spend the rest of our lives together. We agreed on it too and made promises. So when they were going through their mental health situation, it hurt me so much. And then other events added on to this, which eventually overwhelmed me. And, you know, what happened this year happened to this year where everything else sort of in my life fell apart. So my friends knew about this girl. And some of them just openly recognized her as crazy. Someone who's crazy. And even though we never met, not we met, I met her. Even though they never met her or knew her, they felt that way about her. Now, is she crazy? Well, due to the circumstances of her past, the trauma and the medications and everything like that, you can say she is indeed crazy, but I don't want to get into her personal details. That's why I protected her identity to begin with. I don't want people to know about what she's been through, but I don't care about that. I just accepted who she was. And here's the thing. I'm sharing this for a reason. I don't mind crazy people. Just don't get in the way of my work, freedom, and my money. Those are the only rules I have. My friends think I'm crazy because I'm the one sticking with her despite everything that happened. I don't even think Samantha is crazy. I think she has a lot of trauma. And since I also have a lot of quirks and unresolved trauma, we fit together as well as we do. I mean, what's it called? Trauma bonding. They say it's not that good, but I think we went past that point already. And again, I'm sharing this whole thought process for a reason. The guy who I was talking about, who was talking to me during the dinner, he makes a joke to some other friend that I have. He's like, "Yo, John, you know Andre, right?" He's like, "Yeah." And I shook hands with John, right? And he says, "Yeah, so Andre, John over here, he likes crazy girls too, like insane girls. Like, where you guys finding these crazy girls from?" And I fake laughed. Like, what is this conversation or this introduction? I don't know what's so funny about this. I know who John is. Like, are you drunk? Why are you introducing me to somebody who I already know already? And why is this the first conversation? It does remind me that there is indeed an archetype of people who are in love with crazy girls. Now, why do people even fall in love with crazy girls to begin with? Here's the thing, and perhaps some of you can relate. I find normal people, not just men or women, people in general, I find normal people very uninteresting to me. Friendship wise and romantically. If someone is too normal, I just find you boring. And I think what it is that if someone is too normal, I find you too predictable. So I have no interest in somebody that I already know what it's going to be like with them. You know what I'm saying? Does this make sense? Like I like weird people. I like quirky people. And what exactly is normal? Healthy? No, not necessarily that. I think normal is somebody who is very systematic, very robotic. Everything that they do, you might consider it predetermined by multiple steps because it's generally the standard for today's society of how they act. Maybe that sounds a bit too complicated. However, I just feel like being around people who are memorable for who they are, specifically their personality, is something I always enjoyed about different individuals. What's sad about this is that the moment someone is not systematic or considered normal and they're labeled weird, they're they tend to also be labeled mentally ill, or people say they have some sort of disorder. Yet these same people who are apparently mentally ill, they provide the best type of friendships and relationships. The weird person, they're like the best people to be close friends with. But they can also be and provide the worst type as well, the worst type of friendships and relationships. It's like rolling a dice, and the outcome is either extremely in your favor or extremely not in your favor. And as someone who tends to act as what people may say crazy themselves, I do self admit in numerous videos and so forth that I can be overwhelming. And I have a lot, I am a lot to deal with emotionally. I find people who say that they're crazy, I find people who say that they like crazy, they tend to find me annoying sometimes. And I'm sure some of y'all who consider themselves crazy or unhinged, I'm sure you know how I feel when you try to be yourself and people just block you or find you to be too much to be around. You know what it is about crazy people, especially on the romantic side? They'll love bomb you to infinity. Crazy girls will always love bomb you. Tell me I'm lying. They always go to the extreme with how much affection that they'll give you within a short period of time until they're either bored of you or get comfortable around you, and then they start acting extremely irritated about everything that you do. And that can be confusing to you. Like, yo, you were all over me, telling me this and that. And now it feels like you don't want anything to do with me. That's why that meme about crazy girls ruining your life, this is where it comes from. They're the most emotionally manipulative out of any archetype. And a lot of y'all be cheaters too. These crazy girls, they have like this favorite person complex. They glue themselves onto someone, love bomb them, give them the whole world and everything. Then they'll find someone new to be their favorite. Then they give that new person the same thing, the same love bomb, maybe more or less of it, but it's still gonna hurt you. You get all this affection, then they start acting cold, and they're barely around anymore because they have someone else to give all that to. It screws up your head. It makes you go crazy. That's why I talk about ruining your life. But it brings us back to the main question: why are we so in love with crazy girls? We know the damage that they will cause. We know they will ruin our mental state. Are we so in love with them because that extreme amount of charismatic affection that they give us in such a short time, it's something that we don't get enough from other people? Or maybe that affection or love bomb is an addicting feeling. It's a unique, overwhelming, charming feeling that can easily be manipulative to the heart. This is one of those psychological phenomenons about like how or why do humans seek things that hurt them? Why do we do things that are not good for us? Those reasons can be many depending on the subject, of course. It's the same thing here. Something about crazy girls is so attractive that even though we know the pain it could bring, we still give it a chance. I've always been somebody who has been attracted to crazy women. Unfortunately, again, I am a very emotionally intense person, as I mentioned. I like my relationships to be intense. Not every single day I have to like sacrifice my emotional being, but I like being heart to heart with somebody, no filter. That's what I mean about emotionally intense. I feel like when I love someone, I love them a lot. And I like that feeling in return. Now, is that very difficult to ask for? Apparently it is for some people. And I understand. Everyone is different. Everyone moves at a different pace. Not everyone likes to be that openly vulnerable. And that could be for many reasons, of course. Maybe someone hurt them before where they don't open up as much. Like, listen, such is life, whatever. That goes down another topic. It's just that people are so in love and desirous of being with someone who is considered crazy or mentally ill that it's extremely tolling to both parties. This episode of the Aku Anime, I've explained both sides to an extent. I'm speaking from experience on both ends. I'm very imperfect and I'm a very flawed individual. But I've grown to where I understand how I can get. I understand that I'll be this certain way if I open myself up too much to somebody. So I try to keep my circle very limited. And I've messed up too. Sometimes I talked about how the crazy people, they be the love bomber. Sometimes I love bombed. And, I made a mistake doing that because I let myself be too vulnerable. Or I thought somebody was willing to be very heart to heart with me with no filter. But again, see, this is where you screw up with. And since I've been on both sides of this, somebody has done that to me before too, many times. Somebody's love bombed me and I wonder like, where are you going now? Why are you being so cold to me? Now I'm like all mentally screwed up and I'm like all upset because somebody gave me all of this emotions, made me feel a certain type of way. Whatever. It's just that, look, when I say I'm very imperfect, I'm a very flawed individual. And I say that I've grown to where I keep my circle very limited now. And when I do speak to certain people, I know I just keep a certain stoic attitude. I've read DMs and messages elsewhere or comments where people say, yo, Aku, I relate to so much about what you're talking about your emotions or your social habits. And I wish we could talk about stuff, you and me. But see, the thing is, if you find someone who is considered crazy or mentally ill, the last These should be the last type of people you should be around. You should be the last type of people you should be around people like me. That applies to other things. If you're like this, if you're weird or considered mentally ill or something like that, you know what I'm talking about? You should not be chasing crazy girls yourself. You need someone who can ground you and stabilize you. One of my best friends who I've had for like 6 years, I've never met him in person, but we've been friends online for that long. He's not normal as a person. I think he's very weird, in my opinion. And that's just me. You know, I don't mean that in a negative connotation. I know it sounds like that. He's a weird guy, but I wouldn't consider him crazy. He's just weird, but he's very grounded. He's someone I can bombard with a ton of messages about what's going on in my life or what I'm stressing about, and he will sit there, read it, digest every message, and respond to me with a very stable response and suggestion, a rational one. That type of friend or relationship is what you should be looking for. Now, don't get it twisted when you say like, yo, Aku, like we should talk about stuff. Listen, you could drop a DM to me on Instagram. I don't mind that. We could have like a quick conversation, but I'm not going to emotionally open up to anybody. You know what I'm saying? Because two crazies don't make a non-crazy. Does that make sense? We can have conversations, but I'm not going to like break open the shell here. It just doesn't make any sense because someone's going to get hurt here, you know? And recently I done that with someone. Somebody DM'd me on Instagram asking for advice. I cracked the shell, and then like now we're not cool anymore because, you know, I felt like I was being emotionally overwhelming and it wasn't fair to this person. It happens. Again, I'm not perfect. And I know I'm a hypocrite because I'm holding on to a girl who is considered crazy for the sake of it. But those type of relationships where two quote crazy people work together are very rare and requires a lot of work. Y'all don't know how much pain and how much arguments I had to deal with for it to become stable with me and Samantha. So unless you two are both willing to put in the work, extra work, there isn't a point in chasing crazy girls. They'll just love bomb you, mess with your heart, and leave you broken. Look for stability instead. If it's not too late, find someone who you can lean on. Somebody who can give you as much love and consistently and then stick with you at the same time. You're not just their favorite person for now. It's hard to find those type of people, but you know, that's the journey. It's a very difficult one though. So anyway, that's just my take on things. I feel like, you know, find somebody who's stable, and unless you're the stable one, then maybe you could work with the crazy girl. Who knows? Anyway, but what do y'all think? What's your opinion? What's your full take on this? This episode is found on Spotify and YouTube. Check out Times Squares. I'm out. Nightmare 7 a.m. in the morning though. No surprise. Times Squares, you and I under those lights. No disguise. Don't tell me everything you wanted was a lie. All those city lights, it's an endless night. Never expected you to bring me so much life. Close my eyes too long, then it's time to say goodbye. Let's dance all night until the stars don't show glow. Till the sunrise, then we go solo. Making up for all the times that we were low. Let's make some memories before we do go. Let's dance all night until the stars don't show glow. Till the sunrise, then we go solo. Making up for all the times that we were low. Let's make some memories before we do go. Caution. Wait a moment, keep my heart locked away, it's filled with emotion. Gave the key to you, right in front of you is open. Hey, try your best to not leave it broken. Oh, it's been a while since you know it's frozen.